This is The Big Story with Lloyd Jackson. Top interviews from Paul W. Smith and Frank Beckman, and the most important stories of the day. Now, here's Lloyd Jackson.
Good evening and welcome to The Big Story here on News Talk 760 WJR, and it's a special edition tonight. Are you hoping to feel and look better? Will a more youthful appearance help you in today's tough job market? We've got answers to these and more of your questions because tonight's Big Story features Dr. Michael Gray, renowned cosmetic surgeon of the Michigan Cosmetic Surgery Center and Skin Deep Spa. If you have a question for Dr. Gray about cosmetic surgery or non-invasive procedures, you can give us a call right now, 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. Let's check traffic quickly. Southbound I-275 before I-94. There's an accident blocking the right two lanes. There's a long backup in the area. Light rain tonight, the low 48. Tomorrow, overcast with showers, high 52. Right now in Detroit, we have cloudy skies and 50 degrees. Once again, we have Dr. Michael Gray in studio, renowned cosmetic surgeon of the Michigan Cosmetic Surgery Center and Skin Deep Spa. And if you have a question for Dr. Gray about cosmetic surgery or non-invasive procedures, give us a call right now, 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. Dr. Gray, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, as you know, the holiday will be here before you know it. And are you finding more and more people are coming to you to enhance their appearance before they see the relatives and sit down for the holiday meal and the big turkey?
This year, especially because of the winter at this time, a lot of people want to improve their looks and they can hide out. It's not like during the summer. So you always during the winters we have more business, more people looking to do that, especially around the holidays. I mean, people deteriorate over time, and then they get this one chance to see all their family. I'm getting ready to go down to Florida, visit mine. And, yeah, I'd like to do something before I go see them.
So now a lot of times I would think that you would get a person who says, you know, I can get this thing done or whatever procedure I want to have done and then lay low until it gets nice outside again because it's about to start snowing. It's going to be cold. I don't really go a lot of places. And by the time the weather breaks, I'm healed and I'm looking good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that a lot of these procedures don't even require downtime. I mean, they don't even have to hide out. You know, we do wear clothes. I mean, maybe on the face, you know, we have to, you know, maybe get a bruise or something. But, you know, a lot of people these days, when you walk into public and you have had something done, most people are curious what you did. They don't care that you did it. They want to know about it, you know, because they're considering it themselves. They're looking for information.
What about those who come in, and I'm sure you get these, who want to be able to compete in this tough job market against the younger folks who are really up there getting the job?
You know, we're seeing more and more people going back to work. People that were retired, they want to go back to work, or they're bored, they're retired, and they want to go back to work. So they're coming in, and, you know, elderly people. And, you know, as you get older, your skin just keeps on growing, and eventually you have more skin. They're doing things like facelifts and taking care of their eyes. You know, no one wants to look at you and, you know, you think they're tired, you know, and they're not. It's just, it has nothing to do with being tired, having bags under your eyes. It's the fat that's coming from underneath the eyeball that's bulging forward, so we can remove that. And, you know, a lot of these procedures, like I said, they involve skin. So if you ever get a cut, you touch a cut, it hurts. If you don't touch it, it's fine. So these procedures are tolerated very well. You know, my advice to people is just don't touch the cut.
800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. If you have a question for Dr. Michael Gray, and Barbara's on the line from Clark Lake. Barbara, what's your question tonight?
Yes, I've heard about some kind of wand you could put over your stomach and it would kind of like melt the fat. Is that safe?
Is it safe? Yes. I mean, there's all different types of wands. You know, there's ultrasonic waves which are specific to fat. They liquefy the fat, but then we remove it through small little puncture holes, and that's the external ultrasonic assisted lipo. Fat has no pain fibers in it. The skin can be a little irritated. Like I said, if you touch a cut, it hurts. It feels like a Charlie horse or a pulled muscle. It's tolerated very well. All these things are safe. In the fatty layer, there's nothing of importance. It's below the skin and above the core of your body. It's above the muscles. So in that layer, we can reduce, and that's where most people store their fat.
All right, Barbara, thank you for your call. Let's go to Desiree from Detroit, who has a question for Dr. Michael Gray. Good evening, Desiree.
Hi, Dr. Gray. My question is, I'm a 44-year-old African-American woman, and I have now seen on my face freckles or mole-like freckles on my skin, and I wanted to know the safest way to remove them.
Well, it depends on what they look like. That's something that would need to be evaluated. Certainly, most likely it's benign, but it has to be evaluated and checked. If it's elevated, it can be shaved flat. If it's in the skin and flat, then there are lasers that can remove pigment.
Okay.
All right, Barbara. Desiree, thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957 if you have a question for Dr. Michael Gray of the Michigan Cosmetic Surgery Center and Skin Deep Spa. What are some of the more popular surgeries, Dr. Gray, that you perform?
Well, I perform them all, but in the world, the most popular, everyone hates fat-free food, fat this, fat. We're hearing reports about, the country's getting even fatter. So basically the body wants to store fat and we want to eliminate it. So liposuction is the most popular procedure performed. And of that, the newest machine to do this is Smart Lipo MPX.
Okay.
And this machine is a laser that goes with a fine filament underneath the skin and basically just destroys the cell. And you're born with the same number of cells that you'll die with unless you come to me, and I'll take care of that. But fat cells get bigger and smaller. Okay, so your body's goal is to store for a rainy day. So if we destroy the cell, it's not there to store.
Okay.
So when we treat a problem area of the body, you're not likely to gain fat back in that area, but it never goes to weird areas. Everybody thinks that muscle turns to fat. It has nothing to do with that. Muscles, you're also born with the same number of muscle cells, and they just get bigger. So what happens when people work out, their muscle cells are getting bigger. You're not getting more of them. And when people eat, you're storing fat. So what we do is we basically eliminate those cells. We can either do ultrasonic lipo, which remove the cells, and we can combine that with laser that destroys the cells. In so doing, that laser is one of the key treatments of cellulite, abnormal fat cells. So that laser allows me to destroy those cells and make the fat smoother.
800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. If you'd like to speak with Dr. Michael Gray, he's in studio taking your calls. Let's go to Colleen in Ann Arbor. Colleen, what's your question tonight for Dr. Gray?
Hi, Doctor. I'm a little, I don't understand how you can strip varicose veins. What does that do to the circulatory system? I mean, down in your legs. How does the blood flow still work if you are, stripping veins?
Well, the basic problem I find, Lloyd, is that people don't understand anatomy. It's not something they do, so a lot of people don't even know what we do. Basically, the superficial veins that you have, varicose veins are worm-like veins that dilate due to the valves that are inside them that are not holding the blood and pushing it back towards the heart with muscle action. These superficial veins are not required, not needed. That's not the main focus of this. It's a side road. The main vasculature is deep under the muscles, so we're not disturbing those. What we're doing is removing the superficial ones, and these are not the ones. Once they become worm-like structures, they're inadequate for use for cabbages, coronary artery bypass grafts. The vascular surgeons don't harvest those. So these vessels are basically worthless. They don't do anything for you. It's not the main pathway where the blood returns to the heart. So these can be removed at leisure.
Colleen, thank you for your question tonight. Let's go to John at 800-859-0WJR. John from Ohio. How are you, John?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great. What's your question tonight?
My question is, I went on a roller coaster this year, and I noticed the picture, and I see a lot of loose skin. Is that a good thing for a good candidate for a facelift type thing? I don't,
Well, everyone's confused about this. Skin grows. It's not you're losing your elasticity. That's not the main problem.
And welcome back. A special edition of The Big Story with Dr. Michael Gray of the Michigan Cosmetic Surgery Center and Skin Deep Spa. And he's here to take your calls at 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. Let's go to Liam, who's in Detroit, with a question for Dr. Gray. Liam?
Hi, how are you guys doing this evening?
Great.
What is it? My question is that, just a little background, I had, being a Vietnam veteran, I'm just covered in scars. My daughter said, "Geez, Dad, you must be a real hero because you're just covered in scars." And it took me a long time before I would even wear shorts because of my legs were so badly scarred. I just recently had a colectomy, and I've got a wound scar that runs from just below my diaphragm all the way down to my pubis area, and this is a really ugly scar, and from the operation, and I'm already just getting past the point where I can wear shorts. Now I feel I'll never be able to, go out without a shirt on, like go to the beach or whatever. Is there anything you do for that?
Yes. Again, it depends upon what the scar looks like, so I'd have to see you. What people fail to understand, it's not the scar on the skin, it's the path in. So when you're gluing, basically we're glued together. So when we're re-gluing together after an injury, the skin can glue to the muscle underneath, and it can be indented, right? And that can be repaired. But, someone has to come to me or someone like me to do that. So it depends on where the scar is located. We can revise that and fix that. If it's widened, we can fix that too. But again, it'll always be a scar.
An option I had, I was just going to go to a tattoo parlor because of the staples they
Don't
used.
do that.
And you just have them tattoo a zipper. So
I wouldn't do that if I was you, because you might traumatize your children. I don't. That's not something I would do. I've placed zippers in people for trauma where we had to go back and forth, sterile zippers, where we wouldn't want to keep on opening up the abdomen.
Right.
But that's not. We can revise that. One of the things that I avoid is putting staples in people or sutures on the outside, because that will leave dots, which is a scar, on each side of the scar. So the only thing that I can control with people is I don't do those dots. So I would first attempt to revise that scar before you go out and start tattooing your body.
Liam, thank you so much for your call. And speaking of tattoos, I'm sure you get people who come in who want to get tattoos removed. They had them when they were teens, and now there's like, okay, I don't want to look at this anymore.
See, my perspective is where people come to talk about these issues.
Mm-hmm.
So what I see is people get tattoos. I ask them about it. And, don't ask me. That's the biggest mistake of my life, because you're always going to change your style, and your style always changes. Once you tattoo an image on your body, unless it's your kids or your kid's name or family members, you're going to get sick of looking at that image. It's just a matter of time. If you put it on your back, maybe you won't get sick, but someone else might get sick of it.
Right. 800-859-0WJR, 800-859-0957. Let's go to Jean from Adrian, who has a question for Dr. Michael Gray. Jean?
Yeah, mine's really simple. When you do the tummy, you get rid of the fat. I want to know what the price is.
Well,
it probably varies.
No, that's not really. Let me explain to you. It goes skin, it goes fat, it goes muscle. Muscles don't grow, they enlarge, but they can stretch. So the distances between the muscle and your tummy can widen, and your muscles can become protuberant. And if it's a muscle issue, we have to fix the muscle. If it's a volume issue, we're going to reduce the volume. That's some sort of liporeduction procedure. If it's a skin issue, we're going to take care of the skin. If it's a combination of issues, you have to do a combination of procedures. So there's no way that anybody can answer your question until you sit down, we review exactly what's going on, what your concerns are, and then we can go over that with you. But remember, by your pelvis, there's hardly any fat. So if you have more fat above and less fat below, and you just trim the skin, you're still going to have more fat above than below, but it's going to be a step off.
Gene, thank you for your question. And also, Dr. Gray, I'm sure there is financing available for patients who come in.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that finance. And I've operated 28,000 people in the last 13 years from all over the world. I've always wanted to be a surgeon. I don't do this because I have to do this. I do this because I need this in my life. This is what I wanted to do ever since I was a kid, and I work because I want to work. So I never dig people.
Okay.